Deathloop was one of the highest rated and most forgettable games of 2021. A flashy roguelite from the creators of the Dishonored franchise, it exuberated style, showcasing flashy combat set against the backdrop of a sci-fi 1960s. Deathloop looks set to stand amongst Arkane's most memorable experiences. What we got instead was a genuinely cynical ordeal, as if Arkane was resentful towards its fans for relegating their previous entries to hidden gems rather than day one standouts. A contemptuous and unfocused title that regrettably affirms flashy and shallow will outperform controlled and substantial, mockingly loaded with arduous menus that do more to restrict the player than empower customization. It's no secret that roguelikes and roguelites have started to enter the AAA space. With the monumental success of Hades and more recently Returnal, gluttonous studios have started to smell blood in the water, but without a firm understanding of the genre's fundamentals, no matter how flashy, how glossy, and how stylish your game is, it will eventually fall apart. An awkward video game when seen as a complete package, but proficient when taken apart. Deathloop is technically sound, visually intriguing, with a copacetic sound design and a sometimes fun gameplay loop. Nonetheless, even the best quality ingredients can result in a product that's ultimately unsatisfying. The absolute fundamental of video game design is its soul, the heart of the developers. Just like Gordon Ramsay can create a world-class dish from dollar store produce, so too can a developer cultivate a Game of the Year title from antiquated components. If, however, a despondent developer is handed elements of the highest caliber, the outcome will ultimately fail to live up to even the most modest of expectations. Like Dishonored and Prey before it, Deathloop was very proud of allowing the player to choose either a stealth or full frontal assault game style, but unlike its predecessors, those unfortunate enough to take the stealth route will have a borderline comatose experience. Gone are the interesting environments to traverse, and removed is the freedom to explore. Instead, you're ushered to repetitive areas filled with the exact same NPC who attack you in the exact same way. Since you're facing the exact same enemy in each encounter, you're not required to change strategy or switch weapons, which is a good thing. After all, you're unable to change weapons mid-run. Enemies will simply run straight towards you, and on the odd occasion when they do spread out, you can herd them into a bottleneck and take them out one by one. It's perhaps slightly unfair to compare Deathloop to Hades. Despite sharing similarities, they are very different games, but that's not to say that Arkane or any other studio needn't pay attention. Keeping the mechanics simple is a big start. Secondly, it's all about the weapon system. In Hades, you're given the choice of weapons before venturing out on each run. You can stick to your favorite, learn it, know exactly how it handles in each situation with every enemy type, and understand how each random boon will affect your playstyle. While you can infuse weapons in Deathloop, allowing you to keep them after dying, you first need to collect a finite resource throughout each area. Imagine if Deathloop did away with the system entirely and allowed you to pick up weapons found hidden around the maps. They're kept safe in the bunker away from the time loop. You can start each run with your favorite gun and not have to waste time finding resources to hoover up. Now, one less system, in theory, should result in a more fine-tuned experience, and it's beyond me why this game is as bloated as it is. Even the manipulation of time, a flagship system, and the marquee hype station for Deathloop is flawed and boring. There are time-bending powers that can aid you in battle and liven up each run. Nonetheless, it serves a master that cares little for function. Speaking of, restricting the player to perform particular tasks at the exact time of day in order to complete the game is borderline abusive. Games need boundaries, and a good linear experience will funnel the player through set pieces and zones, but give the player freedom to tackle the challenge in their own way, their imagination being the only parameter. In Deathloop, you're forced to take on each boss in an exact order or you just can't win. The invasion mechanic is a complete tone shift, forcing running gunners to hide in the shadow or be melted into oblivion. It's such a jarring change of pace. With all that said though, Juliana only proves a minor nuisance, and since time doesn't progress until you decide it does, there's no ticking clock keeping you on your toes. I'm neither attempting to convince you to avoid Deathloop, if you haven't already played, nor am I calling out those who did enjoy it, which is the overwhelming majority of players. I'm only offering my opinion, contrarian as it may be. Arkane is an outstanding studio who have the ability to create unique and fascinating experiences, adventures that ask the player to stop and think about their actions and how they affect the world around them. Protagonists and antagonists react to the player's decisions, and above all else, freedom, laissez-faire to explore stunningly crafted sandbox environments. Deathloop isn't a bad game, nor is it a good game. Deathloop is a bland, forgettable entry, simultaneously underdeveloped and overdeveloped, a confusing entry into the Arkane pantheon. In all likelihood, Deathloop will get a sequel, and I hope to see many of these issues addressed, because I see the potential of a truly exceptional game buried beneath the surface. As it stands, there are far better games deserving of your time, and more importantly, far better Arkane experiences worthy of your attention. Deathloop simply wasn't for me, and that's fine. I'm clearly in the minority, yet I can't help but feel a sarcastic miasma permeating through. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you'd like to leave me a like or even subscribe, that would be fantastic. If not, no worries. Stay safe out there and take care. See you later.